you could do this either while you're lying down or while you're sitting up. You could shut your eyes and you could either just receive the energy healing that I'm going to channel and see whatever is needed. I'm going to set the intention to give the healing to whoever is on this call, as well as anybody who will be listening to the recording later. And I'm going to introduce each chakra because I know some of you know what the chakras represent and some of you are less familiar. So I'm going to just speak to each chakra briefly, and then I'll go into a channeled Reiki energy healing and do some energy clearing. Anything I say, I set the intention to remove it on the spot. So if I see any clogs or energy blockages, I might say it, but now I'm saying it to release it out of your body and into the universe. And then at the very end, we'll end with bringing in golden light and aligning all of your chakras and setting a group intention and a personal intention and seeing whatever else is needed. So if you're sitting up in a chair, I ask you to get some low back support. And if you're lying down, I ask you to have a pillow that's not too high so that your head's not forward and not back, but it's basically right in the middle. And so what I'm looking for is to have your head over your pelvis, over your tailbone, because when I do energy healing, it literally aligns your physical body. So I'm dealing not just with the energy body, but the energy body directly connects with the physical and the mental body and the spiritual. And so if you're like sitting kind of weirdly, like slumped like this with your low back rounded, it will be harder to align the physical. So just take a moment right now and imagine that there is a line stemming from the crown of your head all the way down into your tailbone. Now, nobody is aligned in their vertebra. And so with my energy healing, I'm also going to set the intention to align the physical vertebra. So say a chakra is out of alignment, like your third chakra, it might be off to, usually a third chakra is more off to the right side because most of us are right hand dominant. And third chakra represents like career and stuff. And so as I do the healing, you might notice that it comes back into the middle. So my point is just go ahead and align your physical posture to allow this realignment to reoccur. Okay. So we're going to start off with the first chakra, and the first chakra is located at the very root of your spine, but it also stems down your legs and into the feet. And the first chakra represents all their survival needs, like money. And oh my God, there's so much of first chakra issues going on right now in the world that's really causing us to uproot, to leave our grounding. And what I've been noticing as I do readings is that more of the energy is kind of squashed in between the middle chakras. So basically the seventh and the first chakra are being very out of alignment. If you're having any leg pain, that's representing a fear of your moving forward. And if you're having pain on the right side of your leg, that's more where you're holding on and contracting. And if that is the case for you, then ask yourself on what can you release more, even in your muscles. If you release a little bit more in your muscles, that will then release more in the emotional body. And if it's more on the left side, that represents more fear of moving forward. It might be that you have goals that you're clear about, but you're fearful of actually going forward and meeting those goals. And so the right is more of the excess effort that you're using. And then the left is resistance to moving forward in life. Okay. And if you're having knee injuries, knee problems, then this is just a little bit different. This is mostly has to do with cross motivations or something within inside yourself that's saying one thing where another voice is saying the exact opposite. So you're canceling each other out, which is having you feel out of alignment. That's more ligament in the knees. And feet is a lot of the connection to the earth. So I'll just throw in here the point that I'm actually, somebody else is here. I'm actually writing a book, and in my book, I'm actually almost complete. I'm to the point where I'm looking for an editor now. This is a book I've been working on for 4 years. I actually outline all the diagnoses and what the energy root of it is and suggestions for non-medical treatment. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the field to seeing how you're particularly running your first chakra, and it looks like there's a gap between your feet and the earth beneath. And so let's see, and this has to do with just wanting to be out of your body. Like there's just so much going on. And because most everybody who works with me is an empath, all of you on this call right now are empaths, it's a lot to hold. Like whether it's the wildfires or the elections, which will be in haywire, or the coronavirus, or our own personal stuff. It's just a lot. And so some of us feel like we're at our capacity of what we can handle. And so when we leave our body, that disrupts our groundedness, our connection to the first chakra. And it's also leaving, like elevating us from the earth. And so one of my suggestions to you is to walk barefoot. I've been actually doing a lot of that. Walking barefoot is one of the fastest ways to connect into the earth vibration. And I also want to set the intention for all of us to come into the frequency of the current vibration of the planet. Take a few breaths into your pelvic bowl and see what would it take for you to come just a little bit more into the current frequency of the planet. We're holding a little bit too much in our leg adductors. And so right now, just allow some breath into your legs. Perhaps if your toes are kind of coming in a little bit, just allow the breath to come down through your legs to maybe allow your toes to point out just a little bit more. Good. And I'm taking light down through your legs. Your legs actually look tired, even though you're maybe not leaving the house very much right now. It's more like a clog in the energy flow, like the blood is not flowing properly through your legs. So I'm doing a little energy healing right now to get the blood moving through your legs. And let's go ahead and send the energy all the way down into Mother Earth, down through the layers of the earth, into the very center of the earth. And while you're there, let's go ahead and connect with Mother Earth and allow yourself to be held. And imagine that you're being held as if your mother was holding you as a baby. Having an infant myself, I've recalled memories of my infant years and how much I loved to be held by my mother. The smell, the warmth of her skin. And then I realized that we actually all have this. Even if you have only a vague memory of your mother or a very short period of time that you actually spent with your mother, or even if we were adopted, we still had this. With adoption, if you go to a new mother, then it's very awkward at first, but eventually you accommodate. And you want to be back to the nurturing energy of the mother's breasts. Even if you're unable to breastfeed, there's still that comfort that happens in this area right here of the mother's heart. So just imagine yourself being held and rocked and nurtured by your mother as a baby right now. And the mantra that wants to be invited in is, I am safe. The earth beneath me supports me. And allow in a little bit more the frequency of safety and security. With the law of attraction, if we literally just align our cells, our neural peptides, to the feeling of being nurtured, safe, and secure, then circumstances have to follow. And now we're going to move to the second chakra, which is located just below your belly button. The second chakra represents emotions, creativity, sexuality, and sensuality. And unexpressed emotions are getting stuck in our pelvic region, our pelvic bowl. And when emotions are unexpressed, well, this is a fifth chakra issue, but it's also a second chakra issue, especially when it comes to shame, or when we have unexpressed anger, or when we have people that we just can't quite shake from our energy space, then this blocks the purity of us being ourselves. And as a result, it could result in a whole bunch of diagnoses like sexually, anything on the sexual realm, infertility, UTIs. So I'm just going to open it up and see what is needed for this group here, and anybody who will be listening to the recording later. Okay, so the first thing I see is you have just a lot of people kind of coming in, and whether it's like I see for Anu, it's like your kids coming in and wanting more of you, and kind of like this needy energy from them. And let's see what else. With Maddie, I see just kind of like a wall of like protection of like staying away, kind of like unsure if it's safe to let people in closer, because when people come in and there are some cords coming into you that they actually want to take, and it's like sucking the blood vibration from that area. And so it makes our choices about how we hold our body make perfect sense considering the circumstances going on. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and release these cords. And when we're holding, everybody's holding a lot of emotions in, like, because we're all empaths, as I alluded to before. And so what I'd like to invite you to do is to reclaim your own vital energy. Just take back your energy anywhere you may have left it, with a person, on vacation, with other people. And as you're doing that, I'm going to release the energy cords of other people so that you could be fully here with yourself. Okay. And I'm going to bring in whatever color feels relevant. The second chakra is orange. Yeah, so let's go ahead and bring orange into the second chakra. This is also where creativity stems from. So most of us, especially on this call, have been a little bit blocked on creativity. We may have ideas. Ideas are more in the seventh chakra, and there's a gap between the second chakra and the seventh chakra connecting. So it's like ideas, but they're far off, you know, like ideas, but you're not ready to act on them because they're not tangible enough. So I'm going to be sure, as we get up to the upper chakras, I'm going to be sure to connect the second and the seventh. I'm doing it right now, but I want to do it again. Okay, and let's move up to the third chakra, which is located 2 inches above your belly button. This represents your personal power, your self-esteem, your warrior energy, transformational energy, manifestation energy. And when it's imbalanced, this results in low self-esteem, self-doubt, intimidation, powerlessness, and digestive issues. But the digestive issues that stem more from your inability to stomach the circumstances of life, like the circumstances of the coronavirus or the wildfires. So basically, when you're out of resistance to what is going on in the earth energy around you and the environment around you. This could show up in your third chakra. And often we respond by contracting our muscles more and putting in more force. And what's happening is, for everybody in this call, you're going more into the masculine vibration. And this is a little bit too much in the masculine for, I think, everybody except for maybe one person on this call right now. So at least everybody I personally know. And so I'm going to bring your energy a little bit more to the left side. Yeah, your left side is very dim. That's the feminine for the most part. And the right side is really strong, which is more of the masculine. So let me see what is needed here to bring you more into balance. Okay, so the mantra here is I am enough. So think the mantra, I am enough. Whether you're doing a good job at work, but you're sacrificing yourself by working 10-hour days, 6 days a week, or you're basically just not really working that much and you're feeling dissatisfied because of that, whatever the situation is, just take in the vibration of I am enough and acceptance of where you're at, and see if you could soften and release the third chakra muscles, which is like your shoulders coming up towards your ears. Allow your shoulders to soften down. Allow your hand to soften as well and open. Sometimes, like, we may be holding a pen or pencil too tightly, or typing too hard, and mousing with too much constriction in your fingers. Just have a vision of how is it you're using your technology right now, and create a vision and an intention for you when you go to the computer next to soften your fingers. Soften the cupping of your hand when it goes around the mouse, and soften the holding of a pen. And imagine the third chakra energy just above your belly button, your solar plexus area, just literally coming out up towards your shoulders and out through your hand. In other words, allowing the words and the necessary amount of force to push the keys just to literally come from you easily and effortlessly. Okay. And it looks like the third chakra wheel is slowing down. There's been a lot of force. So I'm slowing down the force, and I'm setting the intention for effortlessness and flow. As we get up to the higher chakras, that gets closer to manifestation and the ideas. And so I'm setting the intention for the manifestation of the ideas that you want to come easily and effortlessly. Good. And I'm just looking right now at the lower three chakras, and they look really aligned so far. And now let's move up to the fourth chakra, your heart. And the fourth chakra has to do with love and forgiveness and kindness. Now, however, an imbalanced fourth chakra has to do with loneliness. A lot of loneliness going on in the world right now. And loneliness is a result of either closing off your heart because you were once hurt, once or maybe many times hurt, or because you feel like you don't deserve. I'm actually looking directly at Varawan and other people as well when I say deserve. And so I'm going to actually send some receptivity into your energy, Varawan, but also other people on this call and other people that will be listening, to allow yourself to receive, whether it's receiving a compliment, receiving a pay raise. And this is also very connected to your fifth chakra, Varawan, and some other people. So take your energy body. You could even do this while you're lying down. It's really an intention thing to be in the receptive mode, to receive a hug, to receive the love from another person. See if you could let it in just an inch more, just a little bit more. And also along, let's speak briefly to forgiveness. It's now a time to forgive. People have done wrongs. We've all done wrongs. And at the same time, we're all doing the best we knew how with the resources that we had available to us. And I want you to imagine taking a little heart. My last through social media post had a little heart on it, and taking that little pink heart, and you could put it outside of your aura, but you could actually send it to whoever you've held resentment and grudge and anger towards. You could, if you're not quite ready for it to be a big heart, maybe a little heart or whatever feels reasonable to you. But this heart represents forgiveness. Because if you have a lot of anger or places where you're unable to forgive, this is also going to block your access way to self-love. And so we want to avoid you suffering because of what the perpetrator did in the past. So there's also right now in the world a lot of panic and anxiety. And this is also in the heart area. This is related to fear, but this is also related to your inability to listen to the truth in your heart. So anxiety, panic, fear is when you're out of present time. And the heart only speaks in present time. So the two cross out one another, cancel one another. So I invite you to actually put your left hand on your heart right now. And ask yourself to your heart, what is your truth in this moment? And then see if you can make a contract just for today. I allow myself to be loved. I allow in a little bit more love. I am lovable. I love me. And I forgive myself. You can make a personal contract with any one of those or all of those. Make an agreement with yourself around that. And this agreement you could, of course, take into your dreams. And then relax your hand. Feel your heartbeat. You might have slowed down the frequency of your heartbeat. And continue to send love into your heart for yourself. This is also connected to third chakra for many of you because of the pressure to do more perfectionist ideals is putting more force on your heart. And if you continue this for another 20 years, you will get a heart attack. So let's just stop it now. And the third chakra mantra is I am enough. Let's bring that one in one more time. And I love me. And let's go up to the fifth chakra, your throat, which represents all aspects of communication, whether it's communication with source, clairaudience, communication with your own inner truth, communication with your coworkers, any sort of communication. And oftentimes it's difficult for us to actually speak our truth, or we weren't given the tools when we were younger to actually learn how to communicate, such as my own story. I was always the quiet one. I never spoke. From the age of kindergarten all the way through school years, I really never spoke. And when I did speak, it came out usually wrong. And I had to retrain myself on how to communicate, as crazy as it sounds. But it's very possible to do that. It takes practice. I had some good teachers along the road. So if you're out of alignment with your truth, at any time there's something that's not being communicated, then there's going to be a shutdown. a disconnection from you and others, for one thing, and ailments in your throat could show up, such as any kind of bronchial tightness of your throat, allergies, environmental irritants, that kind of stuff. So just take a moment and ask yourself, what is it that I'm not saying out loud? The people in my coaching group, which is several of the people on this call, know that there's a practice that we do to express our unspoken truths, which is a very powerful practice. This is something I did for many years. So even though it may be inappropriate to say your truth to that very person, and I in no way, shape, or form suggest that, sometimes it's just not the right time or space, but it does need to be spoken and expressed. And oftentimes when we were hurt, when we were younger, by a perpetrator, such as through abuse, sexual abuse, verbal abuse, or even lots of times we've had love relationships where one person felt more power over you. And so your voice was suppressed in the relationship. And anything that you say felt less powerful than anything he said. That's also an area where we're going to squash our voice. And this is going to directly affect your heart and your third chakra, where you're going to feel lower self-esteem and less than yourself. So one antidote or remedy for this, if you've been a victim in your life, is to share your story. To share your story with another person. Maybe someone who's gone through similar situation as you, which is why there's support groups, or a friend, or a platform. Communication could be expressed in writing. And so for a lot of people, I've been recommending a lot more journaling, because sometimes the voice and the communication is not ready to be spoken. It's still being metabolized. So I'm going to look specifically at your fifth chakra right now. What I really see is there's this rising up in your chest of like, okay, this feeling frustrated, like I'm not tolerating this anymore. I'm not tolerating being shelter in place any longer. I'm sick of it. I'm angry. And this anger, I just want you to know, is not only the anger of what's going on right now, it's the anger of ancestral lineage. It's the anger of all the lives we've been suppressed. Genocide, wars, religious programming, like it's all going into this feeling that we have right now. Everybody has their own unique flavor of what their voice is going to go towards, okay? I want you to think right now, what is your voice? Like some people are more for the environment. Some people are more for Black lives. Some people are more for woman liberation. Whatever it is, you can't, I'm not suggesting you be the voice for everything. I am suggesting right now you find your own unique flavor, because we need all of it, you know? Right now, everybody, the political system, it's important that everybody's voice and opinion is coming out through the elections. Okay, that is one form of communication and expression. So just take a moment and think about, what is your voice? What do you stand for in the world? And that we need more of, because as you take your forward step into that, which is first chakra, taking that forward step, and I see everybody's like foot now going forward. There's a whole bunch of different ways you could do that, whether you just even begin with a support group, you begin by sharing your vision. Those are all first steps. So this is a time in active business that we actually need you to step forward towards that, because this is where we're evoking change in the world right now. Everybody has been suppressed right now because it's like shelter in place, don't leave your house, you know, and the politicians, there's more than meets the eye, let me just say, around suppression and not knowing what's going on in the monetary system or whatever. I'm not going to get into conspiracy theory. But I am asking you to wait until you feel ready to express your voice, and that your voice does want to be heard. There is a place for your voice, and there's a reason why you've had this suppression your whole life, childhood, whatever your thing was. Like for me personally, I was just like the shyest person in class and I never spoke. So basically that resulted in me feeling like I never mattered. And there's a reason right now, because right now, you know, there is a purpose for me. There's a purpose for everybody right now. So the mantra I'm going to invite in for everybody is, it is safe to express myself. And I'm putting some gold light into your 5th chakra right now. It is safe to express myself. And as I'm doing this, the energy is going up and down. It's going up to your mind, like ideas, and it's going down because your chakras look really aligned below your 5th chakra. Good work, everybody. It's actually you that's doing the work. I'm just like a mirror transmission of the pictures you are showing me. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the 6th chakra, also known as the 3rd eye. And this represents your clairvoyance center, but it's also about seeing the bigger picture of what's going on, okay? And it's also about trust. Well, 6th and 7th chakra is about trust. And oftentimes we block ourselves from seeing what's going on because we're not ready to see it, because sometimes when we see it, that means we got to take more on. And so when we are unwilling to see it, then some of the diagnoses that could occur are allergies, are nerve problems, like if you have a brachial plexus or anything where the nerve transmission isn't going forward, that's all you're blocking yourself from seeing it. And also narrow vision. It also has a lot to do with you're overusing your mind, your intellect. And if you're having any 6th chakra imbalances, then my suggestion is to quiet your mind a little bit more and open your 3rd eye a little bit more. And if you're unsure how to do that, then I have other avenues and other workshops that I do that teach more about how to do that. But I'll just go ahead and do it for you. It's like cleaning off the smoke screen. You know, speaking of smoke, if you live in California, all the wildfires, I feel like the wildfires are actually blocking your 6th chakra. And so it's actually harder to see through the smog, and you might go outside and it looks clear, but there's still toxic particles in the air. And so what we think is clear vision may still be a little bit clogged. And so it requires us a higher level of work to actually clear the smoke screen and see even deeper. And I also really recommend you use more of your peripheral vision, seeing that's on both sides of your eyes. The mantra here is, I allow myself to see what is ready to be seen. All the people I'm looking at on this call, it looks like you're seeing is very narrow, like you're stuck in your conundrum, whatever your conundrum is. And the conundrum is like the same words, same thoughts circling over and over again. And this is really blocking your peripheral vision. So see if you could just stop your same stories and look, expand out. Just look at the wider view of it all. And let's bring in a color indigo into the 6th chakra. Great. And then let's go to the 7th chakra, the crown of the head. And this represents trust and knowingness. When the 7th chakra is out of alignment, it has a lot to do with disconnection and not trusting yourself, and loneliness and depression and lack of manifestation. And right now, as I mentioned initially, everybody's 7th and 1st is a little bit kind of squashed in, like the energy is just not quite getting up and not quite getting down. So let's see you in particular, what is blocking your 7th chakra? It's kind of like, okay, what's going to happen next? That's what's going on in your mind. What's next? What's the universe going to give me next? What's my husband going to give me next? So this also has to do with trust, like trusting that everything happens for a reason, and this is the right thing happening right now. So also the main thing I see is disconnection. And this also has a lot to do with heart stuff. And so when we are unable to open our heart to love, then that's one way to feel disconnected. And so I want everybody on this call to get out of your own way and imagine that we're all in a virtual circle together. So I want to invite you to open your hearts and connect with your hearts to the other people on this call and create a field. It's like a morphogenic field, which is where we're in a subconscious exchange of electromagnetic frequencies that occur, where my thoughts affect your thoughts and vice versa. So let's direct our thoughts towards love and connection. When you're connected into the universal field consciousness, then there's no way you could feel disconnected. You will feel connected. And at the same time, when one person has a dynamic with another person and the other person tries to draw their attention, their energy vibration down, like restricting the other person from doing what is in their highest good, like spending time with a particular person, for example, then that is basically the same dynamic as like, this is my teddy bear and you can't have it, pulling away, disconnection from other people. And it's also the energy of, it's maybe like cross motivations about being okay to spend time with other people. So it blocks our freedom in our heart, in other words. It creates cross motivations, but somewhere inside between the 7th and the 4th, it clogs us, constricts us. So if that's happening for you, free that person's energy and see if you could bring yourself into alignment with your own truth. And your own truth right now looks like opening your heart, trusting more the field consciousness, and inviting more intimacy and people into your space, whether it's a virtual group dynamic such as this. The concept of intimacy is something I was just writing about. And intimacy expands, does in no way have to be limited to just one person. We could all have intimacy with one another right here. And if this call was longer, I would invite that. And with our group program, I have an intention for intimacy with all of ourselves. Each one of us has an opportunity for intimacy with one another. So now I'm going to invite in the golden light from above your head to go ahead and do a last clearing through all your chakras, and it's moving really easily. And let's let that gold light energy go down your right leg and your left leg. I'm going to do the left a few times, because it's definitely moving easier through the right. And let's have it come down your arms, from your shoulders, out through your fingers, and went real easily down the right. So let's focus on your left arm. I want everybody to focus on the energy between left shoulder out through the left fingers. This is your feminine, your creative, your softening, your receptive. Okay. And just a couple last things before we close up shop. So let's set in a personal intention and then a collective intention. And it looks like the personal intention is to take the wisdom, whatever you received from this call today, into your dreams. Allow your dreams to continue the healing process. Like neural peptides will break and reform as you sleep tonight. And to get new wisdoms in your dreams so that you could be at your highest frequency vibration when you wake up tomorrow. And also, I'm also going to throw in there to follow your heart's guidance, at least for tomorrow. Okay. And now the last thing is we're going to send a frequency out into the world around us. So let me just check what that frequency looks like right now. Well, the first thing that shows up is compassion and love for what every other person is going through, and a desire to be connected into the collective consciousness. Like, you know, whoever needs some love, it's you have more presence and availability for that. And also another takeaway looks like that you seem more ready to do your thing out into the world. Maybe it's just an idea right now, and that's okay. But it's more of a waking up that you matter, your voice matters, and that the world needs you even more so right now. Take one last breath. And with that, I thank you for allowing me to begin my day with you and share my gifts in the way I know best. And now, just take a few moments to come back into your body. No rush at all. I'm going to allow anybody who wants to share, and anybody who wants to refrain from sharing, perfectly fine. And while I take a moment for you to come back into your body, I will just let you know that I'm here for you. I have several more free classes I am teaching this week and continue to teach. So if you want to know more about that, then simply all my information is on my website, sharaogan.com. And I have several programs that I just started. I just started our group coaching, which then the second program is intuition training development. And then the third segment of the program is manifestation. And so if you're curious about any of those things, then just DM me or check out my website. Or if you have any questions at all, I keep myself very available. People who work with me know that I have an open door. I have capacity to hold you. And if you have questions or need support, I set the intention with my heart to just be there for whoever is needing to be held and supported. And with that, I open it up to you for any shares, any questions.
I think I felt a huge clearing through my throat and my ears popped.
Oh, wow.
I was like, okay. It was something.
Awesome. Do you feel your spine more aligned right now?
Yeah, it does. It was really tight before.
Yeah. Yeah.
That helped a lot.
Yeah. Good. You're somebody I really suggest to use low back support because you might sometimes round your back a little bit more when you're, especially looking down at the computer. Yeah.
Yeah. I struggle to sit still. So this time is just killing my back.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk to you more about ergonomics and posture, but we'll save that for another time together. Anybody else like to share?
I really felt that energy when you talked about the left side, like my shoulder to my hand, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really felt it. I'm feeling a little bit of pain on my right side at this time, so I don't know what that is. I'll just.
Mm-hmm. What is it that you are holding on to that you might be resistant to letting go of?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so think about that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, honey buns. Well, great. It's spending my morning and your evening together. And I wish you all the best. Signing over and out from my heart to yours.